Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
And remember this, fools rush in, and they get all the best seats. Amen. Hey, good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith. God bless America. Followed by a patriot. Come on, call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, good morning. And a good morning to you on a Wednesday. It feels like Tuesday because we didn't have a program on Monday, but now it's Wednesday. Never mind. It's very confusing. Welcome to Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a great big fall tire sale. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our guest on with the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My friend.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And well done, my friend. Call back in a little bit. I think you're going to have some topics you want to respond to, so thank you very much.
And at least it's a day that ends in Y, right?
Huh?
Today is the day that ends in Y.
I thought they all did.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. Thanks, Doug. Oh, my goodness sakes. Let's go to the weather forecast right now. Brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them. They've got the best of tools and equipment for you to finish any construction project. Get a hold of them today. And they really have the distributorship for the Skag lawnmowers. Oh, yes, American-made lawnmower. And believe me, it's got 0 turning power. Wow, how about that? And it soon, you need all the, I got to stutter and stammer here for a minute because I dropped the paper. And they've got all the excavators. They've got everything for you. So get over there and check out the equipment, including those great Skag lawnmowers at K&R Rental. 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's a look at your weather for this Wednesday, and it looks like this high-pressure system is going to be sticking around at least for the rest of the week. Looks like sunny skies for today, expecting a high of 90. Could be a little bit warmer in other parts of the valley, just depending upon where you're at. Looking at partly cloudy skies with a low of 56 for tonight. Winds out of the southwest right around 8 miles an hour. Tomorrow, another gorgeous day. Sunny skies with a high of 87. Partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 54. As we hit Friday, sunny skies, high of 87. Slightly breezy Friday night, mostly clear with a low of 54. As we look at the weekend, looks like sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid 80s, lows in the low 50s. And as we head on into next week, sunny skies and highs in the mid 80s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and appreciate the weather. Brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. With Roger and the crew, they get there early in the morning at 7 a.m. to start serving you. And don't forget to check out their distributorship of the Skag lawnmower right there at K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway, 678-3122. Wow, we have got a full plate here this morning. Up until 9:06 this morning. We're not sure what's going to happen with one of the guests that we had scheduled to talk about the Nike and Kaepernick problem, and we're waiting to get confirmation on that. So we've got Dan Perkins coming on the program. We've got Julio Rivera coming on the program. We've got Chuck Driscoll locally coming on the program. So it's going to be a good show this morning. Thank you very much. Right now, we also want to remind you about our friends at Daryl's Cleaners. Hello, Kevin, and hello, Cindy. Hello, how you doing? They absolutely do so much more than just clean your clothes. They really, really care about the duration and length of how long you can have your clothes. And dry cleaning extends the life of your clothing, and they look so good. You'll look at them and you'll say, my goodness, I don't remember buying that shirt, or I don't remember buying that dress, whatever the case might be. They come back to you looking brand spanking new. Please get a hold of them today. Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And I mean this. They are the best. And real quick also, I want to remind you that yesterday we had Jerry Zollinger on our program, and that great big Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch sale is going to be this coming Saturday up at the ranch in Oakley. And Jerry did a phenomenal job yesterday telling us all about the horses and all about the location and how the sale is going to be run and everything. That's going to be the 30th annual production sale for Zollinger Quarter Horses this coming Saturday. Preview at 10 in the morning, sale at 11, up at 1994 South, 100 east of Oakley. The best of horses with conformation, disposition, and performance. These colts are really sharp, and they know how to pick their feet up and how to pick them down in the rocks. They're good boys. And you get up there or give Jerry a call at 670-3833. Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch sale coming up this Saturday, starting with the preview at 10 a.m. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. I did quite a bit of research and study and watching and listening as to what happened in the Senate hearing yesterday. And regardless of whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, we all have to be embarrassed for that kind of a proceeding. It was kind of a Keystone Cops approach to trying to get something started and trying to get something done as far as the confirmation of a nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, for a Supreme Court position. I don't think any of us can be proud of what we saw yesterday. I don't think any of us, regardless of political backing, can sit there and go, yay for our team. It was really a totally dismembered cut from order. And to be honest with you, the Democrats made fools of themselves again. And the Senate hearings are continuing right now as we speak. And their main goal is to disrupt. Their main goal is to just absolutely be amateurish, create problems, stalling techniques. And I don't see anything that's being done on the Republican side to stop the problem. And for the hecklers that were in the audience yesterday, they allow people to come in, certain numbers to come in, and take seats and watch the proceedings. And there were many that jumped up and were arrested, but they probably won't get anything out of it. I mean, there probably won't be anything more than a slap on the wrist, if that. This whole thing is a farce. It's a joke. It's a waste of time. And when you listen to some of the comments of Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Dick Durbin, the list goes on, it was nothing more than a stall tactic. It was nothing more than a poor us, we didn't get our way, we lost the election, and now we're going to stop you from doing anything. That's all it was. It was pathetic. Kavanaugh will be passed to the Supreme Court. That's a slam dunk. The only thing that could possibly derail this is if there is something way out in the outer space that's going to come floating in and provide information as to why he shouldn't. I don't think that's ever going to happen. The Democrats have nothing to stand on. And this nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, should be relatively soon named to the Supreme Court. And what's happening back there now this morning is nothing more than a Democrat kindergarten. That's all it is. Disrupting the nomination process. Your thoughts, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to remind you about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, yes, 678-0459, the number to call. They're open 7:30 in the morning till 5 Monday through Friday for all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. That's not bragging, that's a fact. These folks have the best people serving you as they have for nearly 6 decades at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where really the slogan is true. They provide warm winters and cool summers. You be sure and get a hold of them today. Ramsey Heating and Electric. I want to also remind you about a great place to go eat. You, your family, Aunt Martha, Uncle Fred, everybody. Be sure and remember Denny's Restaurant. Oh, my goodness sakes, good food, nice people. 611 North Overland in Burley. It is America's Diner. Don't forget, great menu choices, whether you go in there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, anytime, all the time at Denny's Restaurant. And I urge you to remember to come to our next lunch bunch. We're going to be telling you the date on that in just a couple of days, and be a part of it. We have our lunch bunch over there every month at 11:30 on a Thursday. I haven't quite come up with a date yet. I believe it's going to be on the 20th of September. We'll let you know. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley. Great food and really nice people. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
That hearing on the judge is just about the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of in my whole life. It shows you how immature and how ridiculous the Democratic Party has become. They used to be a fairly decent group of people. Now they're just about as low as you can get.
Did you hear?
It makes me sick to my stomach when I hear that.
Jerry, did you hear about what happened with the woman that was sitting behind Judge Kavanaugh during the hearings? Some of these complete loony liberals said that white woman was a white supremacist and a neo-Nazi because sitting behind him yesterday, she had her arms folded, and they said that was a sign that she was a neo-Nazi. And as it turns out, this woman is, her name is Zena Bash, and she's a former Kavanaugh clerk, and she worked in the Trump administration and now serves Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's administration. She was sitting there, and she just had her arms folded, and some of these complete loony liberals said she was a white supremacist. This is insane.
Well, that comes down to that old phrase, political correctness. If you can get them to follow their lead there, they learn to shut up and not say anything about what's going on because they're scared to, and it's just ridiculous. Political correctness needs to be spoken out about, and, anything that they want to not say, you ought to be saying it over and over and over, just to irritate them to death.
I agree. I tell you what, I wish that Chuck Grassley, the chairman of the committee, would have just looked at the Democrats and said the following: you have interrupted me in a rude fashion. You've interrupted this procedure in an extremely rude fashion. If there is one more outbreak, we will close down the hearing. We will do everything we can legally to make sure that your seat is refilled by somebody else. Shut up and behave yourself.
Well, if they're just going to put more radicals in the seats. You just as well leave them empty.
I agree.
Because they're just disrupting and causing things not to happen that should be happening.
Absolutely.
We need to get the judge certified and in there. And that needs to be done as soon as possible. We also need to get about 3 other conservative judges on that bench and get rid of the liberals all the way across the board. We do not need socialism. We do not need communism. We do not need open borders. We need to enforce our laws, follow our rules, and live like normal people should.
Well, I can't argue with the thing you said, but I'm disgusted, and I'm also embarrassed as to what that showed the rest of the world about our politics and our attitudes in this country. The Demo-brats absolutely acting childish and amateur. The American public, Jerry, deserves a lot better. A lot better.
We absolutely do, and it's just a shame when you hear shambles like this. I'll get out of the way. You have a wonderful day. May the Lord bless you and all the little children listening out there today.
All right, Jerry. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help. Always calling in. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right with you. I got to pay some bills. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes. I'm going to be starting to go over there again this month because, boy, I've got a few problems I need to iron out, and they helped me the last time. I know they can help me again. The best of exercises with all the great physical therapists headed up by Nick Greenwell, and, of course, the only hydrotherapy pool of its kind in this area. Oh, boy, that is good, and it does help. Please get a hold of them today, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Absolutely the best in helping you get back to being you. Really good people. Caller, I'm going to be right there. I got to get this on, and I'll be right with you, I promise. The Bennett Boys Auction Service is going to have the Gary Tussey auction coming up this Saturday, September 8th at 11 o'clock, located over in Hagerman at 370 West Spring Street. This is going to be a neat sale. They've got pickups and ATVs and trailers, guns like a Ruger 22 rifle with a scope. They've got all kinds of lawn and garden items like a Toro riding lawnmower. They've got antique furniture like an oak roll-top desk. Shop tools, supplies, everything at this Gary Tussey auction in Hagerman this Saturday, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. And it's going to start at 11 a.m. in Hagerman at 370 West Spring Street. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
Well, good morning, my friend.
Yes, sir.
You know, this is a case of the tail wagging the dog. Do you agree?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, these other idiots are in charge, and they're not. But yet they've taken control of the whole situation.
You know, and really, you're
controlled that whole thing yesterday.
You're making an excellent point here, Keith. That's why I'm so mad this morning. And Wheels, we got a little feedback here. I'm really upset at the Republicans for not having a more macho, stand-up attitude and putting down this insurrection and just absolutely saying that's enough. The Demo-brats are acting like small, childish kindergarten babies that need their diapers changed, and you've got to have rules and regulations. You've got to have order, and I blame a lot of the problem on the Republicans themselves. I agree with you. I really do.
You know, the problem is this disruption and everything that they're having there is totally uncalled for. Like that woman with the shrill voice.
Oh, my, yeah.
Screaming it out.
Yeah.
It's driving me crazy. Okay, so now they take her, they cart her out there and take her to jail, I would assume. But she's out in no time at all.
Well,
I mean,
that's...
goes to all that trouble. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say your point right there. They're out in no time at all. I don't think that they spend any jail time. I don't think they even pay a public service fine. I really think they're just kind of like a turnstile. They go around and out the door they go. And I, like you, would like to see a good slap on the wrist. Maybe a $500 fine for opening their mouth when they should have kept it closed. Public nuisance. Any charge you want to put on these people, they should have it.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, while this officer is wrestling with this person, he accidentally hurts her. She sues him.
Yep.
She's there where she shouldn't be, doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, and he gets the blame.
Yeah, but did you see, I know you watched the proceedings yesterday, Keith, but did you notice one of the gentlemen, and I use that term loosely, that was taken over by the Capitol Police, and two guys were trying to be really decent with the guy and only use his arms to force him out the door? Well, enter cop number 3, and my hat's off to this guy. He was not going to take any more of his abuse. He was not going to take any more of this childish yelling and ranting, and he grabbed the guy by the necktie and they pulled him out the door.
Good deal. Good use of a necktie, right?
Amen, only it should have been shorter and shorter. Keith, thank you for your call. You brought up a good point this morning because the Democrats have taken it over day 1. I hope it doesn't happen day 2.
Well, you see, every day, if you were to look into it, our prisons, the prisoners are running the prison.
Yeah, I agree. Yesterday was a good example of that. Thank you, Keith. God bless, man. Thanks. Don't forget Sophie's Chatterbox every Monday, and this week we weren't on the air on Monday, but we will be next Monday and give away a dozen cookies to a delicious restaurant and bakery, Sophie's Chatterbox, right there on the square in Rupert at 530 East Street. Don't miss it. Mondays at 8:30 we give away those dozen cookies, and they are really good. Sophie's Chatterbox, great place to eat and a super bakery. Thank you so much. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call if you would, please. By the way, I want to give a great big shout-out while I'm waiting for your call. You know that we have Stotz Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer, on our program with a program called Stotz Ag Minutes. It's on Tuesdays at 9:46. I recently bought a John Deere tractor, and I'll be honest with you, the service, the people, and the caring is absolutely phenomenal. I don't think I've ever worked with any company that has been more service-oriented. They really do a great job. Your John Deere dealer, Stotz Equipment Company at 119 Overland and Burley. They do make your life easier. They made my life easier, and you be sure and stop in and see them today. Really, really good people. What did you think about the hearings? You know, I wasn't making this. I've got a 3-page story right here. 3-page story about this woman, Zena Gelman Bash. And she was sitting behind, doing nothing wrong, sitting behind Judge Kavanaugh yesterday, and I've got a picture of her as she's listening to the proceedings. And liberal conspiracy theorists have called her a white supremacist and a neo-Nazi because she simply was sitting there with her arms folded. This is... I mean, what a bunch of kooks and crackpots are back there in this hearing. The liberals have literally lost their minds. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
They're losing their minds because they can't understand what their former Messiah said, that elections have consequences, and they can't understand that. So they've lost. So now the only thing they can do is like a child in a toy store when the parent says, no, you can't have that toy. All they're doing is throwing a temper tantrum.
Yeah, but wait a minute, Doug. Here's the problem. Caller number 2, don't go away. I'll be right with you. And Wheels, the feedback again. The problem is all this disruption and all this chaos, who does it really hurt, Doug?
Themselves.
No, I disagree. Us, the American people. That's our money that's being wasted, and time is wasted on things that need to be done for this country, the betterment of this country, and we're wasting it on a Senate hearing that turned into a kindergarten class yesterday.
Well, I agree with you. It hurts the country, but it also hurts the Democrat Party.
I hope so, but I'm beginning to wonder.
Well, and I'm like you and Keith. When these guys get arrested back there was, 90 arrests?
Oh, yeah, it was a big no. I thought it was 61, but I could be wrong.
Well, it was it was in the double digits.
Yeah.
And high double digits. But anyway, every one of them should be put on a supervised probation where they have to report to a probation officer every month. If they ever get caught in the next year or two or a determined time brought up on the same charges, then they go to jail.
Automatic.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm serious. When you slap their hands, turn them loose, because I heard this morning one of the senators said that someone asked what was going to happen to them, and he said probably nothing. They just turn them loose.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, what a crock.
Well, wait a minute. Right there is an example, and caller 2, don't go away. Right there is an example of the idiocy of what's going on. The Capitol Police Force that are there to make sure that there is no disruption and or havoc or crime or injury. Why should they, let me ask you this, why should they be subjected to this when it's going to be a turnstile type of arrest, out the door, down to the police station, and then out the door? Why should the cops be subjected to possibly bodily harm when they're not going to prosecute these people?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And I just thought of something that maybe somebody could do, is make people sign a statement that I am not going to protest or disrupt this proceeding. I'm just going to watch. And if you do, then it's a mandatory year in prison, and you've already signed this agreement saying you're not going to do it.
Some liberal loony judge will say this, well, under the circumstances, they were thinking of something else and their mind wasn't clear and they can't sign away their rights to protest and freedom of speech. You know as well as I do, some nincompoop judge would turn that around.
Exactly, but he'd be right when he says their mind's not in the right place.
Well, that's for sure. I didn't see many of the Democrats that did have their mind in the right. I was so offended by the way that Kamala Harris, at the opening statement, Grassley was making an opening statement welcoming everybody to the Senate hearings, and she interrupted him about 20 times. That's ridiculous.
That's when whoever is in charge of keeping order in there should walk up to her. You hush. When it's your turn, you can talk. If you're going to disrupt when someone else is talking, out the door you go, and your voice will not be heard in this proceeding. And another thing, I don't think it should be made public, the first deal, where all they're doing is grandstanding and making statements.
You know, right there, I totally agree with you, grandstanding. Democrats that are running for president, possibly like Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, they are using that as a footstool to get a leg up on possibly their election activities on the Democratic ticket. You're 100% right.
And it should not be made public. If it was a private proceeding, there would be none of this BS going on.
Well, on the radio, we have to watch our verbiage, and when we say BS, I'm sure that you're referring to bologna sandwiches, right?
Yeah, bologna sandwiches.
That's what I thought. Thank you for your call. I got another one waiting. Quickly, seniors.
Hey, everybody, let's do what we can for our seniors. Let's support them. Let's rent their facilities. We got holiday parties coming up. Consider renting a senior facility for your holiday party.
All right. Doug, thank you. Caller, I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody about Barry Equipment and Rental. Oh, boy, these people are good, and they've got all the Doosan equipment. You better believe it. Great big, heavy Doosan equipment, all the loaders, everything. You name it, they've got it right there. And don't forget, they've got the Bobcats. They've got all the Bobcat excavators for sale or rent, all the shapes and sizes. I mean, literally, you need equipment to get a great big job done. I'll tell you what, they can help. And if you don't know how to run the equipment, they will teach you. They've got a sandbox right out behind the location. Absolutely. Barry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. Yes, it is true. They're serving you at Barry Equipment and Rental. Caller, I am so sorry. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Zeb. You're fine. I didn't get to listen to the whole deal yesterday. I got to listen part, snips here and there from a later program that comes on in the evening. And what I didn't understand is when they first started their speech last night, the first lady to interrupt, why didn't they just shut her dang microphone off? The guy that was giving the speech said, you know, and I'm sorry for my naivete on names and whatever else, but she was so rude. So just rude. Why didn't you just cut her microphone off? He told her a couple times, you are out of order. I'm, more or less going to continue on with the proceedings. Shut her mic off.
You know, Riley, absolutely, when you call, you bring up some really interesting points. And I mentioned it last night, as a matter of fact. The chairman should have a cutoff switch for chair 1, chair 2, all the way up to chair 17 or 18, how many chairs they are. And when you have that kind of an embarrassment with Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Dick Durbin, etc., I agree with you. You brought up an excellent point. Let him, the chairman, be the head of the electronics, and bingo, mic's off, shut up.
He's the head of proceedings. He's the one that's got the microphone and the platform. And then they went ahead and some guy made a motion to be heard or something like that, and one of his cronies seconded it. Well, no kidding, but you're still out of parliamentary procedure there, you nimwit. Shut it off. Listen to what somebody has to say. Then when you come back for comments or questions later, then you can put a rebuttal in. I'm not a genius, but isn't that how it's supposed to work?
Well, common sense. Now, let's say it this way. You and I and my audience know and understand common sense and common decency. Evidently, the Democrats did not get the memo.
Well, if you want to be heard, the worst thing you can do is try to talk over somebody and try to be a bully to them, because they're sure as heck ain't going to listen to you. But if they're going to act that way to you, then they're not going to listen to you anyway. Shut their microphone off. I didn't want to listen to them anyway. I wanted to listen to the speech the gentleman was giving. I had a hard time picking it out, and it sounded like it was kind of interesting and, something I wanted to listen to. But because she couldn't shut her dang mouth, I couldn't hear it.
There you go. There you go.
I'll let you go, buddy.
No, Riley, thank you. Let's you and I devise a political cutoff switch, and we'll send it back to Washington. Thank you.
How about a carb 2x4?
All right, thank you very much. Have a good day. No, I thought the proceedings and the follow-up on the news, I think that's worthy of commentary also. CNN and MSNBC and the major networks, cry the blues for the Democrats. Why, the Democrats didn't have a right to say anything. Why, they didn't have the time. They didn't have the opportunity. Wait a minute. They had their opportunities. And today they will have their opportunities to ask questions. But this nonsense of saying that they can interrupt and disrupt a proceeding, and that's okay, no, it's not. It was an embarrassment to our country yesterday. It was an embarrassment to our political system. It was an embarrassment to all of us Americans yesterday, the way the Democrats mishandled themselves. Spoiled children. Spoiled kindergartners. As a matter of fact, that's not fair to kindergartners. The Democrats were worse. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch. Great big 30th annual production sale this Saturday. I urge you to get up there. You're going to be seeing some good-looking colts and fillies that are absolutely phenomenal. The best of conformation, color, great minds, and they've been raised up in the rocks, and they know how to pick their feet up and put them down safely. Absolutely. Jerry and the crew, call Jerry for more information, 670-3833. Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch sale, 30th annual production sale this Saturday, preview at 10, sale at 11 at the ranch up in Oakley at 1994 South, 100 east of Oakley. You be there. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Yeah, what you're talking about's been a disaster as far as I'm concerned. All these Republican senators and congressmen that are up there and sitting on their dust and letting all this go by, their names should be put out over the air, and the times that their terms are up, and let the voters decide if they want to kick these guys out or not. This was a disgrace. It was a mob yesterday.
Well, I think it was Senator John Cornyn from Texas, correct me if I'm wrong, that made the reference that mob rule has taken over the Senate hearing. And quite frankly, it did. It was absolutely despicable.
I don't know what we're going to do about it, but these guys that are collecting the big money on the Republican side and doing nothing has got to be gone. There has to be a way of getting rid of them and replacing them with people that's got guts.
Well, Tony, it wasn't, and I think you'll agree with me on this, the mob rule by the Democrats yesterday at that Senate hearing, it wasn't against Judge Kavanaugh. This is another extension of the Democrats fighting back and hating Donald Trump.
Well, what else have you got? If Donald Trump ever got kicked out of there, we would go back to a Dow market that was 16,000, 17,000, and all these people that have bought their new cars under new homes under Trump would end up losing their homes and everything because the businesses would be going back out overseas. Why can't people understand and enjoy the prosperity that Donald Trump has given them?
I couldn't agree more, and very well said. Tony, God bless you, man. Say hello to Mary. Thank you for your call. Well said.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. You hit the nail right on the head when you said the spoiled brat kid going down the candy aisle and they can't get a sucker. And then they, raise a fuss and so forth. But, there was a comment made by somebody who said that, we'll give some consideration to the unborn. We've had over 60 million abortions since Roe versus Wade. And we wonder why we have a labor shortage in this country.
Yes.
And it's just dead. I mean, the Democrat agenda is take our guns, kill the unborn. I mean, so this is it's flat out murder. It's what it is. And right up until the baby is born, they know, you and I believe life begins at conception. They don't believe life begins until the baby is actually out of the womb. And it's unbelievable that they will destroy a young fetus, rip it out of the mother's womb, and that's considered okay. I mean, these people are showing their true colors, but like you said, it is an embarrassment on the nation to have them put on a display like this. But what gets me is, where's the Capitol Police to allow these people in here in the first place? One of the ladies yesterday that's standing up was a Muslim. She covered her hair. Had the Muslim outfit on. She was standing up there.
Well, Adrian, everything you said is really the truth, but they being the Senate hearings, they do allow, back in what they call the gallery, a certain number of people to be allowed to come in and watch the proceedings. Now, if someone leaves or wants to leave the proceeding, the next person in line waiting outside the door is issued in and takes that seat. But going back to what was said about the rudeness and the yelling and the screaming and the arrests, I feel sorry for the protocol that has to be followed by the Capitol Police, because quite frankly, I'd like to see the Capitol Police knock these people to the ground, drag them out by the nape of their neck, put them in jail, and they have to pay at least a $500 fine to get out.
Well, and we become this. It's becoming a dangerous situation because
yes, it is.
They become so radical in the fact that they're trying to regain power. In the process of doing that, they're really showing their true colors.
Yeah.
And I think that I may be wrong, but unless the apathy sets in and the Republicans don't go out to the polls to support the senators and the congressmen that are in the Republican Party election, then, the Democrats would take over the House. It would be a disaster for this country. But the successes of Trump, here's the bottom line, is Trump was an outsider. He has been, he's derailing the whole elitist plan to create a global plantation where you and I are the slaves and there's the elitist at the top. This is coming, this is the United Nations thing, and I've said over and over, we need to get out of the United Nations. We get our refugee program, we get Common Core, we get gun control. The United Nations has been anti-American, pro-communist since its inception in 1945. Alger Hiss, the first Secretary General, was convicted as a communist spy, came out of the wear cell of the Ag Department to subjugate our farmers and ranchers, and we're still living under some of those.
Well, Adrian, I tell you what, I've got to interrupt you right there. If you'll look at your watch, I got to get a weather forecast on here, old buddy, but everything you said has been spot on, and I thank you very much for your call again. Thank you.
H.R. 193 gets us out of the UN. Let's get on the phone to our representatives and senators that do exactly that. Get us out.
All right, thank you, sir.
And stop the funding, because that's where most of all this stuff is going. We're building this global plan.
I got to get going, Adrian. Cut it off. Thank you. I got to go. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Got to go to the weather forecast. And caller number 2, I'll be right back. Give me just a little bit here, 60 seconds. Our weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they are located right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. And they can help you with your hearing health. Absolutely. They are dedicated to serving people with hearing loss of all ages and their families. And Dr. Pickup has a wonderful new book that she's written called Communication Tips for Happier Relationships. All of this at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Please call for an appointment, 312-0957. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's a look at your weather for this Wednesday, and it looks like this high-pressure system is going to be sticking around at least for the rest of the week. Looks like sunny skies for today, expecting a high of 90. Could be a little bit warmer in other parts of the valley, just depending upon where you're at. Looking at partly cloudy skies with a low of 56 for tonight. Winds out of the southwest, right around 8 miles an hour. Tomorrow, another gorgeous day. Sunny skies with a high of 87. Partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 54. As we hit Friday, sunny skies, high of 87. Slightly breezy Friday night, mostly clear with a low of 54. As we look at the weekend, looks like sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid 80s, lows in the low 50s. And as we head on into next week, sunny skies and highs in the mid 80s. That's your weather forecast for Zebedee.
It doesn't sound too bad, does it? All of the weather brought to you this first hour by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Dr. Pickup, Dr. Mitchell, and they absolutely can make sure you've got the best of hearing health. Be sure and make an appointment today at 312-0957. Caller, you have been so patient. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Jeb. I've got something that sounds pretty good, and that's at the Senior Center on South Overland. Come one, come all, we're going to have birthday anniversary dinner with turkey, dressing, mashed taters and gravy, green beans, cranberry sauce. And I'm going to have to have a yummy dessert because I'm not sure, but it's going to be great. See everybody there.
Joe, I appreciate you and what you do for the senior center. And just the other day, I was stopped on the street and somebody said, "Who is this yummy man that calls in?" And I said, "That's my buddy Joe Taylor." So you're becoming famous all over the valley, Joe.
How about that? Well, appreciate all you do for us.
God bless you, man. And we'll send everybody over to the Senior Junction. Joe Taylor, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And if they'll call, they can get a takeout lunch, too.
There you go, my friend. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. That gentleman right there, I have so much admiration and respect for. Joe Taylor, thank you very much. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I just hope, and I wished I could have a monitor right here in my studio so I could follow some of the hypocrisy and the laughable actions that are happening back at the Senate hearings. And for those of you that have an opportunity to basically kind of follow this Keystone Cops attitude that the Democrats put forth yesterday, let me know how it's going. But calls are welcome. I thought it was absolutely a complete waste of time. I thought it was absolutely, it took the wind out of the United States sails when other people in other countries tune in and they see what an absolutely laughable political farce that was. I know I laugh when I sit and watch the news like over in Taiwan. Remember the Taiwanese government? And when the Taiwanese had their great big meetings and they were jumping over desks and they were hitting each other and they were grabbing each other by the neckties because they couldn't get along in their parliamentary procedures. We laughed at that. Well, after yesterday, everybody is laughing at us. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, you know, the Second Amendment is alive and well, and you and I have an opinion, and they have an opinion. But you see,
now wait a minute, Randy. You said Second Amendment. I think you misspoke and meant the First Amendment.
First. Sorry. Yeah, without the second, there is no first, and that's how I think about it. You're right. I got screwed up. The thing of it is they haven't. And sometimes when people open their mouths, they leave all doubt out. In other words, we know just exactly how terrible they are, how dysfunctional they are, how mentally ill they might be. They've exposed themselves for 2 years now as the kind of people they are, whether or not it's the media, the Democrats, Feinstein, Durbin, whoever, whether or not it's Cory Booker or Kamala Harris. I mean, these people are, you know, anybody that actually believes what they say has to be mentally ill or in on the fence.
Well, let me ask you this, a quick question before I have to break away for a spot. After you listen to the insanity with Booker and Kamala Harris and others, how could any voter in their right mind, put it back on the voters, put it back on us, how could you ever vote for somebody like that?
Well, that's exactly right. And you say to yourself, how did they ever get elected in the first place?
Yeah.
What is going on with these people? And you say, how does Feinstein get reelected in California or in New Jersey with Booker or Durbin in Illinois? I don't know. I don't know how these people could be so uninformed, willfully ignorant, whatever they are. You know, we could say they're stupid, but I don't know that they're that stupid. But I guess they just believe that they've bought the lie that Republicans are, you know, hateful, prejudiced, you know, all they care about is corporate wealth. That isn't the Republicans I know.
Well, they've bought into one major philosophy, in my opinion. They've bought into, I hate Trump. I'm going to get on the bandwagon, and no matter what it is, I'm going to go after the particular situation or the person because they hate Trump. That's the whole problem right now, Randy. You know, I wish you'd call in a little earlier so we could share more on the air. I've got to do a spot right now, but please have a great day, and I'll look forward to hearing from you again. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, buddy, thank you. Caller number 2, don't go away. I'll hurry and be right with you for a quick 30-second call in. Stand by. Big fall tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I mean a big fall tire sale with the best of tires that you need for your pickup, your SUV, your automobiles. Holy cow. And you better get in there today at all 7 locations because, man, this big tire sale is something where you can save a lot of money and drive on the best and safest of tires. At your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Don't forget, along with the tire sale, the best in brake service with highly trained brake technicians, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I've got exactly 30 seconds. Go.
The problem with these Democrats and their people who live in their areas, I think what we need to do is pay attention as locals here because we got a battle coming up for the governorship, and we got a major liberal governor trying to run and take over the state, and we gotta buckle down here and stop. We got to pay attention to what's going on at the national level, but we got to really pay attention to what's going on locally.
No question about it. Spot on. Could not agree with you more. Thank you for your call. God bless you, man. Thanks. That gentleman is 100% right. It's like the old adage from the movie, we got trouble here in River City. We do. And we've got to take care of our own politics right in Idaho. Got to run. Be back in about 7 minutes. Don't go away. Oh, good morning, and welcome back to hour number 2 of Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with a great big fall tire sale going on right now. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, always helping you get back to being you. We're going to have an open half hour of open phone lines. Our guest could not make it this morning, so give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. But right now, Wheels, could we have this good word for Western Waste Services?
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, and it's true, like the slogan says, always at your disposal. Please call them, give them a call, 734-6969. And we talk about garbage pickup on the route pickup service. We talk about the dumpsters. We talk about the porta potties. But I also want to mention to you that if you've got a whole bunch of things in your basement, your attic, your garage that need storage, and they're in the way, they've got the Go Minis. Yep, the portable storage units. They can bring one to your house. You can fill it up, store it there, or they can take the storage back, the Go Minis back over to their property, store it, and it's there whenever you need it. Absolutely handy. That's the key word, handy. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Give them a call, 734-6969. Want to remind you, too, that on Thursdays tomorrow we have a wonderful segment of meeting and getting to know some wonderful people that are your friends and your neighbors that work right here at Cassia Regional Hospital. Wow, really good professional people, and you'll get a chance to hear them tomorrow at 9:17 when we have Cassia Regional Hospital on the air. Don't forget, providing you and your family with excellent health care answers and services Services, Cascia Regional Hospital. One other item I want to mention real quick and say a big thank you, and then we'll start taking some calls. I want to remind everybody about your friends and your neighbors serving you at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number to call, number to remember, write it down, please, 436-5636. With Joel Heward, the manager, his family, and his staff serving you. And when there's the passing of a loved one, believe me, they provide all the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort, and always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. They're there to serve you, and they will. At Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you at Morris and Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Calls are welcome and appreciated. We had a guest that was going to be calling in from the East Coast, and we were going to be talking about the Colin Kaepernick situation. And for those of you that are unaware, since yesterday, and I want to point this out, since yesterday, Nike lost over $4.2 billion with a B in market value. In market value of their company and their products. Lost because people are outraged that Nike would sign as a spokesman Colin Kaepernick, a person that absolutely started this entire chaotic mess of taking a knee or sitting down in disrespect to our flag and our national anthem. You can go ahead and paint this pig any color you want to, especially if you are a liberal Democrat. Oh, well, he was pointing out all the inequities in our society and pointing out that police brutality, pointing this out and that out. No. Kaepernick's not smart enough to point out anything. He's a football jock that, quite frankly, shot his mouth off and his opinions off against the police wearing anti-police pig socks and everything else. This man created a firestorm of a problem in our society, and I have no respect for Colin Kaepernick whatsoever. I am glad that hopefully he will never play pro football again. But Nike picking him up as a spokesperson is a complete slap in the face to all of us that respect our flag, respect our police, and respect our military. And one of the most scathing critiques of the Nike ad campaign came from the widow of American sniper Chris Kyle, Taya Kyle. As you know, Chris Kyle served as a Navy SEAL sniper during multiple tours in Iraq and was awarded a Silver Star and 4 Bronze Star medals, and he was tragically killed by a mentally ill man here in the United States in 2013. Well, Taya Kyle, his wife, wrote a scathing letter against Colin Kaepernick and against Nike. It's too long, but I will read you an excerpt of the letter. She said, "You want to talk about someone in the NFL sacrificing everything? Pat Tillman. NFL starting, not bench player who left to join the Army and died for it. That is sacrificing everything for something you believe in. How about other warriors? Warriors who will not be on magazine covers, will not get lucrative contracts and millions of followers from their actions, and who have truly sacrificed everything. They did it because they believed in something. Take it from me. When I say they sacrificed everything, they also sacrificed the lives of their loved ones who will never be the same. That is sacrificing everything for something they believe in." You know, I read this letter from Taya Kyle, and God bless her for speaking out. But the way I look at this Nike situation, Nike has slapped you and I and America in the face. Those of us that respect our police, those of us that respect our military, those of us that stand tall for our flag, and those of us that have the ears to hear the national anthem and let the tears stream down our face, Nike slapped us in the face. They have chosen, they being Nike, they have chosen to go to the socialist communist left. I'm not going to mince my words. And I believe that Nike right now this morning deserves all the evil and all the bad that will come to them. You know, if you're shopping today and you're within the sound of my voice, I urge you not to buy anything that has the Nike logo. And speak out against what Nike is doing. Why would they want to put the face of Colin Kaepernick on their advertisements nation and worldwide as a person that absolutely represents chaos, insurrection, and anti-respect for our military and police in this country? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, you know, Tucker Carlson routinely has Jason Whitlock on. And a while back, he had him on for the first time. And Jason Whitlock was so logical and intelligent that you couldn't deny it. And he talks about the NFL and sports in general and about what is going to happen with Nike and Kaepernick. And he says it's going to backfire on him, and it already has. And people are sick of Kaepernick. You know, there was a report that he had offers from the Bills and somebody else, and he turned them down just so he could look oppressed. Now, why they offered him a job, I don't know, because, you know, he was better when he played at Nevada against Boise State than he is now.
Well, let's stop right there for a minute, Randy. Randy, stop for a minute. You've followed sports enough in your life, and you know this statement I'm about to make is probably very, very true. Colin Kaepernick has been divorced from professional football for over 2 years. Colin Kaepernick is, 25, 26 years old still, a young man. But I have talked to a lot of pro football players that have told me this. Being away from the speed of the game for that long a time, especially at a key position like a quarterback, those are things that he will lose, and it's very difficult to get back into the speed of the game. And it's one of the fastest games on the face of the earth with the biggest and strongest athletes. And now that he's been divorced from that from 2 years, I'm glad that he may not ever have not only the ability to sign, but the athletic ability to play the game again. I think it's gone.
Yeah, he's yesterday's news, and after this thing with Nike, it's going to backfire on him, and you're right. He has sacrificed nothing. He was an adopted boy, raised by Christian parents who loved him, and he turned his back on them and basically said, to hell with you, I'm going to do what I want. And you know, sometimes notoriety, fame is just more than some people can handle. You know, the fact that he got a shot to play football and start, he should have been so grateful.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Kellen Moore never did anything like that, and he never did and he's a better quarterback than Kaepernick. He never got the opportunity that Kaepernick got.
I can't argue anything you've said, but I will say this. Any young man or young woman that displays themselves as anti-police by wearing socks that depict the police as pigs, or takes a knee or kneels or sits down during our national anthem in total disrespect for our flag, I have no time for. I don't want to see them have any kind of multi-million-dollar contracts. I don't want to see them as a spokesperson for a company. I don't want to see them anywhere in my sight, because this country right now is so fragmented and so divided because of people like Colin Kaepernick, I don't know if the younger generation is ever going to learn and respect what this country is all about in the past and what it can be in the future. This man, Colin Kaepernick, is absolutely evil in my opinion and should never be given a mouthpiece as a spokesman for any company, except maybe dog food.
Well, I don't even want to see him anymore, and I'm sick to death of him. And I think the owners, NFL owners, would secretly admit to you that he has done more harm to the product. And let's face it, the NFL, I talk to people all the time that are just saying, I don't even really care anymore. And so you see, once you lose it, if you lose a fan and you lose thousands, hundreds of thousands of fans, maybe millions, and then it bleeds down into your family or your friends, and they say, to hell with it. I'm going to watch college football all day long, but there's times when I think, I love pro football, but then there's times when I think, I don't know.
Well, I'm to the point where I look back into the 60s and 70s. Think about this, and it's really true. NFL Hall of Famer Jim Brown condemning the way things are going in professional sports today, with these people like Colin Kaepernick shooting their mouths off when they don't have a loaded gun, and people like others that have made the Hall of Fame, Jerry Kramer from our great state of Idaho, etc. And they played football for the love of the game. They didn't play it for the money because the contracts weren't there. And now we have spoiled prima donnas that are overpaid, underworked, and they come out with their social injustices just to make a name for themselves instead of going into the communities, trying to help the local communities, trying to help those that are oppressed. They shoot their mouths off and create this kind of a public nuisance. I think this is ridiculous.
Well, I tell you, Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack and what they're getting paid is absolutely insane. And you see, this cannot continue. And these people do not deserve this kind of money.
Absolutely not.
And it's disproportionate to the point where people are just, how could you be oppressed and you've got a chance to play pro football?
Well, here's the thing, though, Randy. With a $15, $20, $30 million contract, whatever the case might be, why not stand up and say, I believe that I can be an asset in maybe helping control some of the problems or reversing some of the perceived problems in our community. And I'm going to go work with the mayor. I'm going to go work with the chief of police. I'm going to go work with community action leaders and take a positive approach in trying to be a good member of the community to make it better, instead of wearing socks that depict the police as pigs and kneeling against our flag. That's idiocy.
I'll tell you what, it's a terrible shame, and I guess you're right. It is what it is, and they have freedom of speech, and we as people have choices. We can either decide to ignore it, turn the TV off, watch something else, go find a job. A lot of people just need to go get out of their house, get off their dead butt, and go find a job. There's a lot of them.
Amen. I can't say anything to add to what you just said, because that's the truth. We've got deadbeats in our society. We say we've cured the unemployment. No, we haven't. We have an employment problem now in this country where people that are running businesses need good employees, but there's so much laziness. There's so much graft and corruption in this country. That's why we don't have employees, because they'd rather stay home on the government dole and eat bonbons and watch TV instead of go to work.
I tell you what, when I knew I was going to have to work the rest of my life, and I accepted the fact, and when you're young, you want to go fool around and play. But you see, now I love work, and I will work till the day I drop dead. And I'll tell you what, it's what I live for. I live for my Heavenly Father, my family, and my country, and I'm going to fight like hell to save it all.
I appreciate it, Randy. Thank you for your call this morning, my dear friend. Take care. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436 to 436-2244. I've only said that number 10 million times. Or 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. And this is a mixed animal practice veterinarian. And believe me, large or small, they can love them all and take care of them all and keep them healthy. Don't forget that. You want to make sure that your pets and your livestock are healthy. Well, Dr. Bill and Dr. Jordan, the whole crew, they can help you over at Ark Animal Hospital. And I urge you to call if you have problems, 678-1177. I'll repeat that number again, 678-1177. Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn. And they do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. I also want to remind everybody about my friend Anthony at Save On Shells. Oh, my goodness sakes, I've told you many, many times I bought a brand new camper shell from Anthony at Save On Shells, one of those new, really, really nice ARE camper shells, the best in the business. Well, not only do I like the camper shell, but the service from Anthony at Save On Shells has been absolutely fantastic. They're located at 1027 Overland in Burley, and take it from me, he will take care of you. Anthony is the best at 312-1525. 312-1525. Save On Shells, right there at 1027 Overland in Burley. Caller, good morning. Thank you.
You know, Zeb, they're talking about this deal with Nike, and they're burning the shoes and that. I seen something this morning that says go ahead and burn them. Somebody already bought them.
Yeah. Personally, you know what I'd like to see happen, caller, is take all the Nikes and somehow obliterate the logo and give them to the homeless or give them to shelters or whomever so they could get some use out of the shoes rather than just burn them. What are your thoughts?
I think they need boxed up and sent back to them COD and let them pay for it.
Well, that's not a bad thought either. What do you think, honestly, will come of this situation with Colin Kaepernick as a spokesperson and the way that they're treating police and military by hiring him?
Well, they're about to go out of business because nobody will support them.
I hope not.
I mean, that's how it works in our country. You push against everybody's dollars and you'll lose.
I certainly hope you're right, and I want to see tomorrow the stock market numbers go down for Nike. I just think that we have reached a point in our society, and I want you to respond to this, where evil is growing like a cancer, and a lack of respect and a lack of love for our country is growing like a cancer, and somehow it's got to be stopped right now. What are your thoughts?
The only reason it looks that way is because of the mainstream media showing it. And they show anything negative, and they leave everything alone that's anything positive.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Everybody watches the mainstream media. I don't. I'm an over-the-road truck driver now. What I hear on the radio is what I hear, and when I'm not local, I'm listening to satellite radio, and I don't hear all of the BS. So,
well, I feel compelled, and you tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I'm probably not going to change my modus operandi. But I feel compelled that now that we're nationally heard and recognized, I'm going to fight these people. I'm going to fight the Democrats that are making fools of themselves and our country at the Senate hearings. I'm going to fight Nike. I'm going to go after these people and let them know what I think, because we've got to stand up and fight back. We can't keep absorbing all the liberal foolishness that's going on in this country.
We need to get into our colleges and our high schools and clean them out so that our children are not being taught this crap.
I agree. Totally agree.
Because as they come up, they don't know any better. Parents aren't teaching them anything. And it just drives me nuts. They want to blame everybody for the problems, and it starts at the home. Parents are responsible for teaching their kids.
Absolutely. You know, sir, I appreciate your call as always. Drive safe out there, and thank you for sharing with us this morning. Thank you.
Have a good one, Zeb.
You bet. Thank you. Man, spot on. It starts in the home. Parents, you should be cognizant of what's going on. You should really understand the issues. Take the time, whether it's trying to read about what's going on with world events or listen to various programs. Find out what's happening. Really make your own opinion. But be aware. And then raise your children accordingly. Calls welcome, 436-2244. I want to remind you again, Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch going to have a great big 30th annual production sale this Saturday. Put it on the calendar. Be up at the ranch at 10 a.m. for the preview. Sale at 11. And the ranch, of course, Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch, 1994 South, 100 east of Oakley. Really the best of colts and fillies. Conformation, disposition, color, performance. These are great horses. You need to be a part of it. Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch 30th annual production sale this Saturday starting at the preview 10 a.m. Don't miss it. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. While I'm waiting for your call, we're going to have Dan Perkins on the air just momentarily. Lee's Furniture, Floors and More with Jeff and the entire crew. I mentioned this yesterday that the weather, you know as well as I do, it's going to fall off the table here pretty quick, and we're going to see cooler weather going into the fall. You're going to be spending more time at home in the house. Well, don't forget, beautify and comfortize your home. I don't know if that's a word, but I just made it that. Comfortize your home for all the activities you're going to be having there inside during the rest of the year. Stop in at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More and check out brand new carpeting. Stop in at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More and check out all the bedroom sets. Check out all the living room furniture and all the dinette sets, everything, and all the recliners. Boy, have they got a selection of great recliners at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More. You got to go in, try one on, see if it fits, buy it. You'll be tickled. I've got my own personal recliner. Nobody sits in my recliner. All of this and more at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see those great folks today. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and this man is always welcome on my show. He tells it like it is. I respect that. And his name is Dan Perkins. He's a master storyteller and author of the Brotherhood of the Red Nile trilogy, and he understands politics and the foolishness that's going on in politics. Good morning, Dan Perkins. How are you?
Oh, sir?
Yes.
I had just called him, and he said that we weren't going to have an interview this morning.
Oh, yes, we are. Call him back and tell him it is scheduled for right now at 9:30.
Okay.
Quickly. Just do it, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Dan Perkins is going to be on the air. Until we do that, give us a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear from you. Rahm Emanuel, if you may or may not know this, I don't know what happened within the last 48 hours. But Rahm Emanuel in Chicago, the so-called mayor, has decided that he is not going to run for re-election. Now, this is kind of a bombshell type thing. Rahm Emanuel has absolutely destroyed any sense of decency in Chicago with his mayoral leadership, if you want to call it that. And I think right now is a golden opportunity for powers that can understand the situation, rectify the situation, and try to put Chicago back into a common sense city. Now is the time. Rahm Emanuel is not going to be running for re-election, and I certainly hope they get someone in there that can clean it up. I've been to Chicago numerous times growing up. We weren't that far away, about maybe 130 miles. And I loved going down to the Cubs games. I absolutely love going down to the Museum of Science and Industry. It's a wonderful city right on the shores of huge Lake Michigan. It deserves better than how it's been treated. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Now, I'd like to think that you're one of my best friends. Is that mutual?
Where are you leading me?
Well, I'm leading you right to your recliner.
Okay.
You said nobody will sit in that recliner because you're selfish.
I am selfish when it comes to my recliner. If you come in my house, I will not let you sit in my recliner. There. I don't care what you think.
I will I'll come to your house and I'll have my wife distract Deanne and you, and you'll go in the other room, and I will try out your chair.
I guarantee you that if I find out that you have sat in my recliner and messed with my buttons on my recliner, I have a pair of tongs that used to be used for barbecuing. I will insert those in each nostril and lead you out of my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Nobody sits in my recliner.
I always like to hear how I stand with you.
Oh, Keith, I'm just giving you a hard time. Yes, you can come over. You can sit in my recliner briefly.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Master. Thank you very much.
All right, what can I do for you?
But the thing I really wanted to talk about is this Kaepernick, or whatever the heck his name is.
Kaepernick.
Yeah, Kaepernick. And all these people are disrupting the proceedings. You know, back in the days of our pilgrims, what they did with them was they put them in locks with their head and their arms sticking out. They couldn't even scratch their nose. And then they put it in a public place where everybody could go by and see what a bunch of jerks they are. What would be wrong with doing that nowadays?
Well, you'd never get away with it nowadays. The liberal sleaze that permeates itself in our legal system would not allow that. However, the legal sleaze has also stopped any common sense approach to getting rid of these demonstrators that have absolutely disrupted our proceedings, and they've turned it into a mockery. And I absolutely am upset about what's being allowed to happen in Washington, D.C. It's a disgrace.
Well, if they did that to me, I certainly wouldn't repeat the crime that they've charged me with. And wouldn't that be wonderful that they learned a lesson to not do this anymore?
All right. Well, Keith, I appreciate your call.
Taken to jail, that's just like one of those turnstiles at the grocery store.
Yeah.
You go in and you flip it and everything, and then when you go out, you flip it again, and that's what it is. It's just a roundabout. And I don't know. We don't have any justice. That's all there is to it.
Well, there should be an automatic $500 fine. There should be an automatic possible 6 months in jail, whatever. But this slap on the wrist, or not even a slap on the wrist, of leading them out of a proceeding, taking them in a paddy wagon down to the jail, down to the police station, and then turning them loose. Man, I don't like catch and release even when I'm fishing. If I catch something and I'm lucky enough, I want to keep it.
Well, it's like I heard on the news just this morning, this woman in Nevada, and I don't even know what city it was, but she was a druggie, and she got stopped for speeding or something, and they took her to jail.
Yeah.
And when she gets in jail, she asked for a doctor, and they said no. And so she curled up on her bunk and died.
Well, we're getting off topic here. We're off topic here as far as that story is concerned, and I want to stick with the absolute imbecilic approach of the Democrats and what they've done to disrupt this proceeding. But, Keith, I appreciate your call as always. Thank you very much for calling in. Thank you.
and save my chair.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. Hey, don't forget our friends at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. And the number to call, 436-4771. Yes, they are open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. They've got all your ATVs. I mean, they've got a great big blowout closeout on watercraft. Be sure and save money and get over there and check that out today at Let's Ride. Believe me, these people really care. Nick and Randy, the whole crew, they've got a fantastic accessory department and a service department with Tyson and the rest of those folks over there to keep you running and enjoying the great outdoors. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. I've been listening to the liberals. You know, some of them have sense enough to know that they're going to lose this deal with Kavanaugh. And so now the big push is we just need to limit him to 10 years. And, you know, no lifetime appointments anymore.
Who made that statement? Sir, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Who was making the motion of trying to limit him to 10 years, which is, again, against any of the facts and figures of the Supreme Court? I mean, they're trying to change and alter the way things are done. Who made that announcement?
Well, it was on a talk show earlier this morning. I don't know the person's name, but, you know, it's a liberal rant from the left.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they're pushing that agenda, and the thought that come to my mind, well, what about this old fossil Ruth Bader Ginsburg? When are they going to get rid of her?
Yeah, you see, the animosity of the left against the right and the ambiguity that they show is so ridiculous. Here we have a lady that's almost 90, if not 90, and she's still sitting on the Supreme Court and still says she's going to stay there, and then they want to limit somebody like Kavanaugh to 10 years. It's so absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, you know, this is their push. You know, we got to limit that. You know, we can't have this lifetime appointment anymore.
Yeah.
It's like when you got this senile fossil that's already on there, when they're going to get rid of her so we can put somebody decent in, you know?
You know, I don't care what the situation is on the Supreme Court today with Kavanaugh, or maybe 6 months when there might be another person resigning from the Supreme Court. This idiocy is going to be permeated again, and we've got to do something in this country to stop the division, this huge chasm between the right and the left. There is so much evil in this country that's dominant right now. I think you'll agree with me. It's got to stop or we're going to end up in another civil war.
Yeah, it looks like we're headed that way. But, no, I agree with you. There's, they needed to kick those people out yesterday. That was ridiculous. And somebody needs to get a backbone instead of a wishbone and take control of things.
Let me ask you this.
The Republicans I'm talking about.
Yeah, let me ask you this, though. If you were a Democrat and you said, well, gee, they didn't get all the information necessary, they didn't get all the documents. Wait a minute. How long, sir, have the Democrats had time to prepare, ask for, and receive all the personality information on Brett Kavanaugh that they needed? How long, sir?
Yeah, and dig up all the dirt they could find on him.
There you go.
What's it been? I don't know, a couple months or maybe even longer. I don't know how long it's been. But they've had plenty of time to dig it up if they wanted it.
Absolutely. But they waited for the theatrics of a television camera to sit there like Kamala Harris and keep interrupting and be rude, or Cory Booker to keep being rude, purely because of this, and I believe this. Cory Booker and Kamala Harris may very well throw their hat in the ring to be a presidential nominee on the Democratic Party, and that TV screen yesterday was a great kickoff to their campaign. That's all it was.
Wow, that's pretty sad.
It is.
I mean, if that's really true, there's not much on the other side to look at.
Well, you and I both know that, but really, do you think I'm wrong? I think the theatrics was there, that they were just trying to tell the public, hey, look at me and remember me because I may run for the presidency. They were using it as a focal point to disrupt that Senate hearing.
Right, yeah. And the other day I heard that Joe Biden was thinking about running on the Democratic side.
There's only two things that Joe Biden should run for. Number one is, if he has a problem, the bathroom, and number two, a train to catch it. That's all Joe should run for.
I was thinking a dog catcher, but I'll agree with you.
Okay, have a good day, sir. God bless. Thank you.
Thanks.
Wheels, you got to get them up a little higher during their part of the conversation, if you would, please. Thank you. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you hear another socialist was voted in yesterday in Massachusetts? Now, a lot of you in the audience might say, oh, well, it's no big deal. Well, just a minute. Don't go there. Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and now this woman, another black woman by the name of, and I'm looking it up here real quick if I can find it on my list, Ayanna is her first name, and I'm trying to find it. Here it is coming up. Ayanna Pressley. She won over a 10-time congressional candidate in Massachusetts, and she is really hard left socialist. And this ought to be solid proof that the Democratic Party has turned the corner and is really standing in the intersection of socialism and communism. Listen to that name, because you're going to hear more of it in the next couple of days. Ayanna Pressley. And then you'll watch the media pick up on her victory and portray her as, oh, the oppressed black woman running now for Massachusetts, etc., and how she's going to be the leadership and she's the new wave. She's a socialist, a far-left socialist, totally against everything that this country stands for or has been supporting over 250 years. We're a capitalist country. Our soldiers, our men and women have fought and died for all the freedoms that we have. And then, of course, we listen to these people that don't know come here from Sikkim, and they want to change the structure of America to a Venezuela or whatever. This isn't just scary. It's total stupidity on behalf of the voters that elected her. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Weather forecast real quick, and then I'll take some more of your calls. I don't know what happened. Boy, we've had an hour shot full of no-shows. I don't know what happened to Dan Perkins, but it was on the scheduling contract, and he's not there. So we're going to have the weather right now brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. They've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. They are the best. Absolutely, with tax return preparation, tax planning, retirement planning, assistance with IRS communications, business consulting, all of this and so much more, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Don't forget Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's a look at your weather for this Wednesday, and it looks like this high-pressure system is going to be sticking around at least for the rest of the week. Looks like sunny skies for today, expecting a high of 90. Could be a little bit warmer in other parts of the valley, just depending upon where you're at. Looking at partly cloudy skies with a low of 56 for tonight. Winds out of the southwest right around 8 miles an hour. Tomorrow, another gorgeous day. Sunny skies with a high of 87. Partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 54. As we hit Friday, sunny skies, high of 87, slightly breezy. Friday night, mostly clear with a low of 54. As we look at the weekend, looks like sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-80s, lows in the low 50s. And as we head on into next week, sunny skies and highs in the mid-80s. That's your weather forecast for Civility.
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. And the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And these folks can really help you, your family, and your business. Don't forget there's been changes in the tax rates and tax deductions. You need to know all of this information and work with the professionals. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. How about a call? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I receive memos of different statements that are made by various people in the news media, whether they're authors, writers, or whether they're involved in politics or medicine, whatever. And a couple of really scary subject matters were sent to me yesterday. And one was by Robert Spencer, and Robert Spencer has written many, many books, and he really understands the problem with Islam and Muslims here in America and what they are trying or may be trying to do. And one of the statements that was made by Robert Spencer, and some of you may be offended because I'm going to be talking about a deceased senator, John McCain, but the facts are the facts. McCain, and this is a quote from Robert Spencer, McCain was the main supporter for the terrorist brotherhood, the Muslim Brotherhood. Senator McCain was the one who opened up the Congress to the Brotherhood. He was the one arranging the meetings and appointments and providing them with protection. And Robert Spencer goes on to say, remember when Michelle Bachmann, remember her, Michelle Bachmann from Minnesota, called for an investigation into the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration of the U.S. government? John McCain was the one that came out and denounced her, Michelle Bachmann, on the Senate floor as a bigot and an Islamophobe. And there was no investigation. I'm going to be doing some more research. Now, I've had Robert Spencer on my program, and I've got his number, and I'm going to call him and try to get him on the program and discuss this. But all of this with Michelle Bachmann was going on at a time during the Obama administration when there was basically kind of a welcoming and a open-door policy for the Muslim Brotherhood to be a part of the Obama administration. Oh, and you probably also remember that was at the same time I had our Congressman Mike Simpson on the line, and he chastised me as being a McCarthyist because I was against the Obama policies. All of this is kind of falling together like a jigsaw puzzle as to who has been supportive of the Muslim Brotherhood being a part of our government and basically creating an welcome here, enter here policy. And I'm going to do some more investigation on this and get back with you on this next week. Another issue that needs to be discussed quickly was brought by talk show and writer Lowell Ponty as he was talking about a headline that he has written about called, "Are You Ready for President Nancy Pelosi?" And this really was scary because he laid out how very possibly Nancy Pelosi could be president of the United States. And I snickered when I read this the first time, but it's not funny. He says, quote, "Loony leftists such as Bill Clinton's former Labor Secretary Robert Reich now demand nothing less than annulling Trump's election as invalid." Everything Mr. Trump has accomplished as president must be, according to the left, nullified and erased. And the Orwellian airbrushing of the very name and face of Donald Trump must erase him from history and turn him into a non-person, as if he never existed. Reich wants Trump and Vice President Pence removed from office by the U.S. Supreme Court. And if Democrats win the House this November under the Constitution, Nancy Pelosi could become president of the United States. Now, if that isn't a Halloween horror story, I don't know what is. Nancy Pelosi, and there is a chance that could happen. A chance. I'm not saying it's going to. I don't even think it's a 0.1% chance, but it is a chance. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, you talk about how people want to nullify Trump and his even existence as president. I feel the same way about Obama. I wish we could go back and just nullify everything he ever did and erase him, make him a non-person.
Well, I'll turn
part of history, but yeah, it ain't possible.
I'll turn the shoe on the other foot to you. You said everything that Obama did. Okay, Riley, what did Obama do?
That's a good question. My biggest thing is I just focused on some of the things he hurt, like the big healthcare mandate deal.
Yeah.
You know, that really hurt me, and that's the biggest thing that sticks to my mind. Giving money to foreign countries, which Trump is starting to turn around on. You know, I'm sure he did some good, but I really don't know what that is, to be honest with you.
Well, you know, you and I are both in kind of a quandary this morning trying to come up with something good that the Obama administration and Obama himself as president did. And once you make a little list, I'm sure it won't take a lot of ink out of your pen. Call me back and we'll discuss it.
Yeah, you're right. It probably won't take a whole lot of ink out of my pen, but the point of the thing is why are they going after someone who's making us great and making us strong instead of making us weak and submissive?
I totally agree. Totally agree. Thanks, Riley. Good point as always. Thank you. Don't forget our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. I want to remind you that these are the professionals with life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. All you need to do, and there's only one thing you have to do, and that's call for an appointment. Yeah, they'll be more than happy to sit down with you and talk about all your needs and coverage. 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Remember, they're dedicated and responsive to your needs. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. You call them today. Holy smokes. I got time for one more quick call. Give us a jingle, 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning and thank you.
I think with Kavanaugh being approved, we should do the Pelosi rule. Let's approve him, and then we can find out what he's really all about.
Shades of days gone by. How true that is. You know, Doug, all this is doing is just really costing you and I, the taxpayers, money. It's costing people time and effort of getting something constructive done. And I hope that when they go to the polls in November, they'll remember that the Democrats absolutely were wasting their time and money.
Exactly. And I was watching last night, and I don't know if you've seen it or not or remember it. I don't remember it. Was when Clarence Thomas was being approved.
Oh, yes.
And his statement back to the senators was just spot on. It was really, I don't remember much about it, but I remember hearing it last night, and what he was saying, that he was being basically lynched.
Yeah.
Right there. on the seat. He says, and it's disgraceful.
Absolutely. I got to run. I've got the news coming up, but thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
God bless.
We're going to head for the CBS News, where they're going to tear apart everything we put together over the last hour. And then we've got Julio Rivera, maybe at 10:06 this morning, the way my luck has been. And then Chuck Driscoll coming into the studio at 10:30. I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Oh, good morning. I hope you're having a great day on this Wednesday, September the 5th. It's hard for me to say September. It really is. I still feel like we ought to be saying something like June or July, but already September? Holy moly. Time is going by fast. I am, of course, Zeb Bell on Zeb at the Ranch, and we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with a great big fall tire sale going on right now, and along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, I also want to say, I know some folks that do a job that none of us want to do. No. You don't want to be out there pumping a septic tank. No, you don't want to be out cleaning a sewer and sink drain line. No, that's why everybody calls Dino's Septic Service. They are the best at what they do. They've enhanced their business. They've enlarged their business to better serve more customers in this area. My goodness, septic tanks pumped and septic tanks and drain fields installed, backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, all of this and so much more. Fast, fair, friendly service. Absolutely. Dino Septic Service. Call the numbers 436-6526 or in Burley 678-1638 with the big truck that says smells cargo on the way. Absolutely. Dino Septic Service, serving you. Really good people. I've said it before many times this morning. I'm going to say it again. Don't forget that great big, really special quarter horse sale going on up at the Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch this Saturday. 30th annual production sale. Preview at 10 a.m. Sale at 11 at 1994 South, 100 East of Oakley. Up at the ranch, the best of conformation, disposition, performance, and color. These colts and fillies, they are premiums. Let me tell you, you get up there, you're going to see what I mean. Call Jerry for more information, 670-3833, or go to the website, jerryzollinger93@gmail.com, or Facebook at ZollingerQuarterHorseRanch.com. Big sale coming up this Saturday. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and a gentleman that's been on our program many times in the past, co-host and associate producer of America's Common Ground, the new political reality debate show that's sure to be a country's most talked about. Here's Julio Rivera. Good morning, Julio. How are you?
I am fantastic, sir. Thank you so much for having me on again.
Well, you know, I'm not here just to give you a whole bunch of flowers and candy for your new show unless you deserve it, and it sounds like you do. Tell us a little bit about this show.
Well, it's a fantastic new platform. It's a political reality competition show. So basically what we do is we get 10 everyday Americans together and get them to discuss the most hot-button issues in the country. There's rules to the conversation. People can get flagged for being, personally attacking other panelists or trying to pass off fake news as facts and things like that. And the players can fact-check each other and whatnot. And then basically you go through a couple of different rounds of discussion on different factors within those issues. And then at the end, the entire table votes on the best solution. Whoever has the best solution, so whether it's an immigration issue, Second Amendment, fake news, whatever the topic may be that particular week, the winner who has the best solution actually gets $10,000 donated to the charity of their choice.
Well, wait a minute. Why don't you today jump in your car, pickup, airplane, or train and race back to Washington, D.C. and tell the Senate to adopt your rules and principles, because it would help all of us?
Hey, you know what? Hopefully we will set an example. And what we want to do is, this is a nonpartisan show.
you realize that I'm very, very conservative. And as you are, and that's the reason why I love coming on your program, because you're staunch conservative. But this show is not a conservative show. It's not a liberal show. It's a nonpartisan show. This show is about the Americans at the table, trying to figure out what these legislators in D.C. can't seem to do.
Julio, let's break this down a little bit and talk about politics and some of the big bad issues. I want to get into some certain things before we end our conversation this morning, but I'm going to start with a word that I think is being abused, and you can tell me if you think I'm right or wrong. The word that's being abused and not used in the proper connotation is the word immigration. I am absolutely furious that the word immigration is being used in the same paragraphs, etc., and sentences as those that are illegals breaking the law to get in here, and they call that immigration. It is not. It is an illegal alien invasion. That's what that is. We're not talking about legal immigration. Would you agree with me that word is being misused?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that there's, again, political correctness gone mad. We don't want to call these people out for their criminal behavior. And quite frankly, it is criminal behavior. And there's no way to try to dress that up and make it seem nicer than what it truly is. These people who are not invited into our country, they're taking away jobs, they're not paying taxes, and they're enjoying all the benefits that legal immigrants get and, regular, natural American citizens get. They put their kids in schools. If they're in a building and it's on fire, obviously it's the same, fire department's going to come there and save their lives and do all those other things. So we're spending a lot of money extending ourselves, thinning out the amount of, or the quality, rather, of the education that our children get in order to educate their children, and they're not paying into that same system. So, no, it is an illegal invasion is really what we're tantamount to.
Why have we on the right, Julio, you and I and others, why have we as conservatives allowed ourselves to be backed into a corner and have threats of being called bigots and hate mongers, etc., when we're standing up for the constitutional values of our country and the laws of our country? Why are we the ones that are looked on in the media as being the guilty party?
You know what? Again, this is like this phony demonization of conservatives. I mean, we see it all the time. Donald Trump is a bigot. That's the narrative that they're trying to push out. He's sexist, he's anti-women, he's this, he's that, but he's really none of those things. His policies across the board have benefited Americans across every demographic, regardless of sex, religion, any of these things. All Americans are doing better under Trump, and some in particular are doing better than they ever have. When you look at the Latino unemployment number, when you look at the black unemployment number, he's been the greatest president ever for black people, but all you ever hear about is how Trump is racist.
Let me respond to you in a letter that I found in Newsmax magazine, and it was written by a gentleman in Turlock, California, and I'm just going to read you 2 sentences out of this letter, and I want you to respond to it, Julio. Quote, liberals would rather worry about and support those not legally residing in the United States. Is the Democratic Party only interested in representing other nations? Respond to that.
I think so. I think so. I think that what they do is it's politics of pandering. They're pandering to every group, but they're not they don't want to do anything, and they don't have a platform that appeals to, working class Americans. And the largest voting bloc in this country is working class white Americans. That they've kind of alienated, white voters. They're very anti-white males, it seems, this new Democratic Party, or this platform that they're running with now. They don't, and what is their platform? Honestly, Zeb, at the end of the day, what are they going to do? What are they offering to voters that, that's actually somewhat attractive? What is it, open borders? They're offering to raise our taxes. They don't have a platform for this midterm, and Donald Trump is crushing it, quite frankly, by every metric. So this blue wave I don't think is going to happen, and it's the truth. I think that they care more about just increasing their voting base by pandering to illegals and pandering to these Islamic refugees and all these other people that are invading our country that shouldn't even be here.
Let me ask you, though, when you use the term voters, they're pandering to their voters. You know, I'm beginning to wonder, really, how smart or how well educated the American public is when it comes to their elected leaders or supposed elected leaders. Because are we that naive that we can't see through the facade of Bernie Sanders? Are we that naive that we can't see through the idiocy of the socialist, Ocasio-Cortez? What's going on here? Why aren't we doing our homework and throwing these people out of office or not electing them ever?
Well, because at the end of the day, we don't control the narrative. You know, and there's a lot of great independent media that's conservative. There's a couple of really big ones like, you know, Fox, and then obviously you have Newsmax and One American News and a couple places like that that lean a little bit more to the right. But we're outnumbered. We're outnumbered by the true giants. You know, NBC News, you know, CNN. Those are these, you know, Washington Post, the New York Times. These are, you know, the larger media outfits, and their narrative is the liberal narrative. And you know, a lot of people, quite frankly, are disassociated, you know, they're disconnected from the truth. You know, they're more worried about being entertained. You know, we live in a society now where it's immediate gratification. If they hear something that they think sounds cool or sounds pleasant to them, then that's what they run with. They don't, you know, go dig, you know, roll up their sleeves and dig into policy, and they don't understand how these things work, so it's very easy for them to be fooled. You know, the majority of the people, quite frankly, unfortunately, are misinformed or underinformed. And that's the reason why the Democrats are even still a viable party in this country.
Julio, you've been on my program before, and I've always found you to be a straight shooter. And I'm going to ask you a question right here that I want a straight answer on. Most people that get on my program, they kind of avoid this. I honestly believe that we are just a couple of dashes on the hate meter away from a big, huge civil war in this country that could be a confrontation of a lot of pathetic injustice and hurt to a lot of people. Where do you stand on this? Do you think that we're just absolutely seconds away on the clock of having a civil war break out in this country?
Yes and no. I mean, I think that if you continuously have Democratic leaders like Maxine Waters calling for, you know, the harassment of, you know, Trump supporters and for, you know, members of the Trump cabinet and his associates, then yes, I mean, we could have some skirmishes. But an all-out civil war, I don't necessarily think that that's kind of going to happen. If it did happen, I think it would end very quickly. Because honestly, I don't think that these people could really hang with the conservatives that are, you know, most of them are. If it did come to the point where we were taking up arms, I mean, liberals tend to not have arms, so I think it would end up very, very quickly should it ever explode to that.
Well, and the reason I asked that question is it kind of hides the fact that yesterday at the Senate hearings for Judge Kavanaugh, look at the disruption. Look at the disrespect. Look at the way that the Democrats and the visitors in the gallery handled themselves with a complete lack of respect for rules and regulations. That's what I'm getting at. The left absolutely doesn't care about having a respectful protocol.
Yeah, but it's all political theater at the end of the day. You know, they're looking for their sound bites. They're looking for their clips that CNN can play over and over and over again and continue to brainwash people into thinking that the confirmation of Kavanaugh is a bad idea. You know, you can't use advise and consent and stretch that out over a 2.5-year period or 2 years and, you know, 4 or 5 months and try to prevent, you know, Donald Trump from putting another conservative on the Supreme Court. It's just not going to happen.
I hope and pray that your television show, America's Common Ground, is a great success. How are you going to handle, control, or whatever to get the content on so that it can be positive, maybe with some solutions at the end?
Well, I mean, we're hoping that people catch on to it. We're also developing an application where people can play the game at home. It's going to be gradually immersive and eventually result in a complete VR platform where people can play the game with people all over the world using virtual reality hardware. So it's basically, this show is about getting the conversation going. We're not trying to steer people in any particular direction as far as what they need to believe, but we're going to present the facts, and we're going to try to have honest conversations amongst regular citizens to try to determine what the best solutions are to all these issues.
Let me ask you this on a situation for your program. Today they're supposed to be voting on the funding for the border wall. How would you handle this on your program?
Well, we would basically put, 5 liberal leaners and 5 conservative leaners on the panel and let them discuss it. What are the pros? What are the cons? How does this affect our country? And let them come up with solutions. There's probably going to be some give and take and some pragmatism, but the table will decide. And the one thing with the show is there's going to be times where as a conservative you might not agree completely 100% with what the final outcome is of the table. And if you're a liberal, you're not going to be 100% happy with what the outcome of the table is. But these are the opinions and the desires of regular, everyday Americans. So we're really trying to take a pulse or a temperature, of how Americans are really feeling.
Julio, what kind of issues other than immigration, give us some other samples of some of the topics that you're going to discuss on this TV show in accordance to what you think is the most important and the most critical right now in America. What are you going to go into?
Well, it's going to be like we're going to discuss the truth and get beyond the hyperbole of the Russian collusion investigation that's going on. What are they really trying to do? What do regular Americans really think? We're going to be attacking issues like the Second Amendment. Obviously, immigration is going to be another big issue, and whatever comes up in real time. So, like from week to week, we're going to be discussing the most important issues or the most pressing issues in the country.
It sounds to me like you on this TV program are going to be accomplishing a lot more than our Congress will be, other than the fact that the left only has one idea or agenda on their platform, and that's hate Trump. What about going into the midterms? Do you see any semblance of a blue wave, or is it just a leaky faucet?
I think it's a leaky faucet. I think that's a great way of putting it. I mean, the truth of the matter is, I don't hear anything, any pronounced platform that's attractive to Americans coming out of anybody from the left. I mean, who's their superstar right now? Is this Ocasio-Cortez? You've got Andrew Cuomo in New York. What's his big thing? He wants to legalize marijuana. He thinks he's going to fix, the state budget. Look at what it's doing in Colorado. It hasn't been positive in Colorado. I don't think it's going to be positive when applied in New York. Until they figure out that, working class Americans and working class white Americans in particular, which are the largest voting bloc in this country, want to keep more of their money. They want to have more opportunities. They want industry coming back to this country. They want to renegotiate trade deals that we get screwed on. They want everything that's coming from the right. So, I don't know. You can't, in the word free, this word free that they throw around, I think people are starting to smarten up and realize there is no such thing as free. I don't see the blue wave at all, and it may not even be a trickle from a faucet.
Let me ask you this question. Are you surprised with all of your political ventures and studying politics and reporting on politics? Are you surprised that we've seen the Bernie Sanders come to the forefront? We've seen now the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortezes come to the forefront. And last night, another one, Ayanna Pressley from Massachusetts, another avowed socialist, come to the forefront. This worries me, but what are your thoughts?
It worries me to a certain extent, but not so much. I mean, what worries me more is that the media is legitimizing these people. And it's only because it's a majority, as I stated before, a left-leaning media. I mean, young people will always gravitate towards idealistic socialism. They think that, all these things sound great, but how do they work in practical application? Is it possible? No, it's not. It's been proven, time and time and again, and everybody always uses the example of the Nordic countries where socialism is working. But meanwhile, they don't realize that these Nordic countries are starting to elect more and more conservatives because they're seeing that it's actually not working. And, as far as all the social justice people that go ahead and point to those countries, they always forget that these countries are more culturally homogenous. They actually have closed borders, so they don't have, a constant invasion like we have from Mexico. They're not absorbing quite the numbers of Islamic refugees and things like that. And they point to, they have guns in those countries and stuff, but you don't see shootings. You don't see shootings because there's not as much of an instance of violent crime, because we're not absorbing all these people from different cultures that are, incompatible with the way of life that we have in America. So it's two different things, and they can't seem to really, figure it out that America is nothing like these countries like Switzerland.
I would say this, and I'd like you to jump in and tell me if you think I'm right or wrong, but I think 99% of the problems right now in America, with the possibility of acceptance of socialism with the Cortezes and the Bernie Sanders, etc., is all stems from our education system that has completely run amok. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's gotten really bad. I think it's at the point where we have teachers that have an agenda. I think they're trying to force their agenda, use their position of power to try to brainwash these kids into believing things that they don't necessarily understand yet. And listen, ultimately, teachers, for all intents and purposes, are public employees. So public employees are government employees. They prefer, obviously, a bigger, more stronger centralized government. So they're going to put that, that type of sentiment into those children, and then, unfortunately, then they go to college with the same idealism, and then they're fed, a heaping dose of even more of this garbage once they go to college. So, it takes kids a long time to realize, that they've been duped, when they're sitting around with their worthless degree that they spend all this money on and all their anger and angst. They don't really realize it until they're a little bit older, and they really go out into the private sector and figure out what it is.
Julio, quickly tell my audience about your new TV show, America's Common Ground. How can they see it? Where will it be?
Okay, well, we're in negotiations actually right now with a couple of different smaller cable outlets. So when we have an announcement as far as who's picking up the premiere season, I'll definitely reach out to you and everybody and make them known. But for right now, they can watch clips of our first couple of episodes that are already in the can at America's Common Ground TV on Facebook. If you go ahead and search that, there's a lot of good clips there of some of the exciting interactions that we have on the table. And that's really what the show is about. Like I said, the show, I'm one of the producers and I'm the co-host. I'm the conservative co-host on the show. The show is not about us. The show is about the people. This show is for and about the American people.
Julio Rivera, I thank you so much for being on the program. Please come back in the future, and I wish you a lot of success with that show, America's Common Ground.
Well, thank you so much for having me, as always, and God bless you and your listeners.
All right, sir. Thank you very, very much. Good guy, Julio Rivera, and he's been on the program in the past. He will be in the future. I want to remind you about some friends of ours that want to tell you that they're ready to serve you, the seniors of this area, with lovely, affordable senior community at Syringa Plaza. Now, if you're not aware of where it's located, I'm going to tell you. It's at 626 Elba Avenue in Burley, and the telephone number, I'll tell you right up front, 677-4204. Absolutely serving low-income seniors who maintain an independent living status with or without assistance. And there's so many special features like one-bedroom apartments and kitchen with electric range and refrigerator, building accessible to people with disabilities, emergency call system, all of this and so much more. I urge you to call them today and find out more. Syringa Plaza, and they're located at 626 Elba Avenue in Burley, and the telephone number 677-4204. Also want to remind you that Joe Bennett and the crew of the Bennett Boys Auction Service going to have a ripping good sale coming up on this Saturday over in Hagerman, the Gary Tussey auction. It starts at 11 o'clock, and it's at 370 West Spring Street in Hagerman. Look for the signs. You can't miss it. They're going to have pickups and ATVs and trailers, 99 GMC pickup. They're going to have guns like a Ruger 22 rifle with scope, and they're going to have lawn and garden items. They're going to have antique furniture like an oak roll-top desk. Always wanted one of those. Furniture and household items, shop tools, everything at this sale. The Gary Tussey auction coming up this Saturday, September 8th in Hagerman, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Right now, let's send it back over to our main studios. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
And And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, thank you very much. And right now, in the studio, boy, have I hit a home run this hour because I have a guest that showed up. And his name is Chuck Driscoll. And Chuck, I want to make sure that I get the title correctly. The Mini-Cassia Veterans Service Officer. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Get real close to that microphone, if you would, Chuck.
All right.
We're here to talk about a suicide awareness exposition for all veterans and interested parties. I guess I'm going to turn it over to you and explain what that title means.
We want to educate the public about the epidemic that we call suicide. It's not only an epidemic in the veterans community where 20 per day are committing suicide on average.
May I interrupt you right there? You told me that just a minute ago during the break, and I think you could tell by my reaction that I was absolutely floored. Move that closer to you, if you would. Absolutely floored by you telling me that 20 veterans a day are committing suicide.
Yes, that's what the VA reports.
What in the world is happening to our veterans that would put them in that kind of a mental state?
Well, I think the multiple deployments, I think it's a societal thing because it's not just the younger veterans. We've had older veterans, we've had younger veterans, we've had middle-aged veterans, Vietnam veterans, Korean veterans, all choosing that way out. And it's gotten to be such an epidemic that we figure that education is one of the keys to trying to resolve and get the community involved in it.
Now, Chuck, you are very aware of this situation and you are very informed about this situation. In your opinion, what is the motivating factor for these people to look at suicide, as you quoted, a way out?
I believe that people just don't think they have anybody to talk to, and it's hopeless. That's my personal belief, but that's what I've seen.
Why are we letting families and of the veterans, or anybody for that matter, why are we letting this issue kind of dangle on the clothesline without somebody closing the gap? I don't understand why help isn't available or people can't see the warning signs. Explain this to me.
Well, the warning signs are so multiple. It can be just from a general sense of helplessness or hopelessness to deep-seated problems with things they've seen or experienced. In youth suicide, it could be things that are happening in our schools that are really unhealthy, such as bullying and things of that nature. But in our veterans community, the list of issues are long, and we don't always see them. The family doesn't always see them. Veterans don't open up to their families about the problem. Now, the VA has really attacked this issue. You make a phone call to the VA, and one of the first things they say is, if you're considering suicide, punch this number and talk to a counselor.
Will the honesty factor come in? Will the people that are calling, will they actually hit that number?
Some do, some don't.
Yeah.
There's no way of knowing how to reach everybody, but we know that we need to get the information out there, get the families involved. The family, of course, is the fabric of our country. And
absolutely.
If we can't get our families involved, then we've lost the battle.
Chuck, I'm going to make an assumption here. If I offend you, I don't mean to, but I'm assuming you're fairly close to my age. I'm 70.
And I'm just a few years younger.
Okay, but we're of a generation where men didn't share their feelings like this. Why is it different today as compared to maybe the World War II vets or Korean vets coming home?
The World War II vets, a lot of them did commit suicide. But
and we were never really notified of it.
We didn't really know it. Vietnam was the first time when we really became aware of the suicide epidemic among Vietnam veterans who saw things and came home quickly. And, after the war, or after they were released to come back to we called it the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And even more so now, these younger vets are making multiple deployments to war zones and coming back after seeing unholy things.
And let's stop right there, and I think you've almost answered my question a moment ago. When my dad came home from World War II, or that era, they were supposed to be the strong, silent kind of a John Wayne type, but the public and the media might not have ever heard about the suicide rates from that era, and now the problem is compounded because we're trying to catch up on trying to help people, right?
Exactly. We're trying to help and educate people, and the more we talk to people, the more we hear. I talked to probably 100 people in the last 3 months about this particular subject, and not a single family hasn't been touched in one way or another, either by a veteran whose family were involved or my neighbors and friends and people in my church. There's nobody that can't say they don't know somebody that way.
What do you want me and the audience to know right now this morning, and what do you want to have us be aware of?
I want people to be educated and look for the signs, looking for ways to kill themselves, talking about feeling hopeless, talking about feeling trapped, talking about being a burden to others, somebody who's increasing their alcohol or drug intake, somebody who's giving away all their personal items for no reason.
There are a lot of telltale signs.
Yeah. Acting anxious or agitated or behaving recklessly. Somebody who withdraws or isolates themselves or showing rage or talking about revenge, or somebody whose mood swings go from one to the other extreme.
Right.
Those are some of the warning signs, and we need to be aware of them, and we need to know that there, are all kinds of resources in the community to go to.
So I think what you're saying, we've got a call on the other line. I need you to put your headsets on so you can hear the caller. But there is a 6-letter word that I think you're advocating that all of us utilize, and that's the word listen.
Amen.
Amen. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air, please.
Yeah, I got a quick question for your guest, and that is, do you think that a lot of the higher suicide rate we have for our veterans is, thank goodness, not so much here as it is other places, but is because they're coming back, like Vietnam veterans, they're coming back to people who really don't like them and take the chance that they can to verbally abuse them and demean them after someone has given everything they could and offered everything they could all possibly give to people, and they're treated like crap. And I'll get off the phone and let you
Chuck, go ahead and respond to him. He's going to listen on the air.
Okay. What I would say is that I think it started in Vietnam when people came back and were spit on and called baby killers, and I think it's not improved a lot. I think the veterans coming home now are actually getting more public awareness and adulation than they ever did before. But I still think, that a lot of these guys come back with mixed feelings and conflicts in their minds, and sure, we can say that it doesn't happen in our neighborhood, but I know of 5 veterans that we've laid to rest in the last 3 years in the Mini-Cache area alone who were suicide victims.
This really concerns me, and I got to go back to what you said in the opening of the program because it just knocks my boots off thinking about this. 20 veterans a day are committing suicide in this country. That's a deplorable number that it just seems to me like the general public, me, and everybody else were just kind of walking by the problem and ignoring it. Is that what's happening?
I think in the large part, yes, they have been ignoring it because they didn't realize what a big problem it was. But when you take those numbers and you look at 20 a day and you go in a year, that's over 7,000. That's more than we've lost in active fire incidents in the military.
Absolutely. Are they problems connected to maybe coming home and not being able to readjust to a family situation, or maybe not having a job, or maybe having income-related problems? I mean, a wide plethora of problems, right?
Right. Every single one of those things that you mentioned are problems that veterans face every day, and some of them successfully and some of them not so successful.
So what is the answer? What do you want to achieve with this exposition, this suicide awareness exposition?
I want people in the community to know what the warning signs are, and I want them to go out and tell people that they care. We care is the watchword for this. people need to know that they're cared about.
Absolutely. Now, where are you going to hold this exposition? And tell us, is there a cost involved? Give us the information.
There's no cost involved. It'll be at 625 Fremont Street in Rupert. That's across from the old Rupert Police Station. And we will have the Boise Vet Center van with a counselor there that day. We'll have materials to hand out from the VA and from the SPAN network, the Suicide Prevention Action Network. We'll have a table there, and we're going to try and educate the public.
Absolutely.
No cost. Come, enjoy, the presentations, and for heaven's sakes, bring your friends.
I would assume, and tell me if I'm wrong, Chuck, that this is not just for people of the military to walk in. You really want to help anybody that has questions.
That's our goal, is to help anybody in the community.
Now, what are the times that this is going to take place?
We will be open from 10 to 6 that day, and September 14th, which is a week from Friday, and we will have the Vet Center van there from 10 to 3.
I just want to lend any help I can, as I have on various other veterans issues, but this is just absolutely, it stoned me. It really did when you said 20 vets a day, and all the others in our community that have problems with coping with various problems that we're not aware of.
There are people from young children to older adults that are in this category, and it just pains my heart when I hear of a teenager who takes their own life. When I was a teenager, we only had several goals. What were we going to do that weekend, and how much fun could we have? And now, you hear about it all the time.
Chuck, do you think society, and I'm going to revert back to this like I said a few minutes ago, is society changed? Is it more compelling, if you will, for the teens to look at it as an easy way to get away from their problems?
I believe that's part of it. I think the breakdown of the family is a large part of it.
I want you to explain that a little bit. What do you mean the breakdown of our family?
When I was a kid, and when you were a kid, we could go to Mom and Dad and talk out some problems.
Yeah.
My dad used to tell me that I could find a helping hand at the end of my arm anytime I had a problem, but he wasn't the most sympathetic in the world, but I could go to him.
You must have had my father, too.
I could go to him, and I could ask questions.
Yeah.
I talk to kids that come into my office for their veterans benefits, and, they don't have anybody to talk to. Nobody in their family, nobody in their neighborhood.
Well, now, I'm going to stop you there. Is that, in some respects, a cop-out and an excuse because maybe they're not trying to talk? What are your thoughts on that?
I believe it's an equal mixture of both. I think there's a lot of people who don't want to hear it, and then there's a lot of people who don't want to talk.
What about breaking the ice, if you will? And I need you to hold your hands really still over there because it's making a rumble on the air. What about the people that come in and want to talk? What should we do as people that they want to sit down and visit with? I've had 2 occasions in my life to where somebody said, hey, do you mind if I come over and visit with you for a few minutes? And sometimes we let our hurried up attitude every day kind of say, well, no, I'm too busy. But I listened both cases. One of these was a suicidal tendency, and I'm so glad that I took the time to sit and visit with them. What would you tell people like me? How should we listen?
Listen, give them support, and let them know that you care. That's the most important thing you can do.
If we ask questions, in most times they want to give answers so that we can maybe offer more support and help?
Some do, some don't, but you have to draw them out. But you got to mostly have them feel like that you care. If they feel that like you care, they know they have somebody who cares about them and that they will likely talk more.
It's not just sending somebody to a minister or a pastor or a priest. Sometimes us old common folks can be the link in the chain, can't we?
Most definitely. Usually it's their friends they'll go to first.
Really?
Yep.
And we need to be cognizant of what some of the problems might be.
That's for sure.
Okay. Now, this awareness exposition, is this something that is your idea, or is this a statewide push? Give us a little background on it.
I believe that this was the first of its kind in our area. I got the idea basically because I've had a son who committed suicide 5 years ago, and it touched our hearts. And then we've heard of other cases, and I think the large thing is that we need to learn to listen, and we need to learn to educate ourselves.
Let me ask you, Chuck, and I certainly don't want to create any feelings of remorse again on the air this morning, but I will say this. As a father, were you aware of the signs, or did you overlook some of the signs?
I know that I overlooked some of the signs.
Really?
Yep. And it wasn't conscious that I wanted to, it's just that it happened. You know, I knew he was having problems, and I would talk to him every time we'd talk, but, you know, from a long distance away and everything else, it was difficult.
So you learned through your experience, and now you're trying to share this with others, too.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. Who are some of the people that are going to be there speaking? Do you have any highlight or features that you want to bring out?
It will be mostly just the vet center van and one of the counselors from the vet center, and then we will have handouts, and, you know, we'll talk to people all day long.
Absolutely.
So,
now, is this through the Veterans Administration?
It's our own office doing it.
Your own office is doing it.
Yep.
And so what is the number, perhaps, for your office that we need to highlight right now so people can become aware of this?
208-678-3599.
3599. 678-3599. Now, when are you there, or how can they get a hold of somebody at that office number?
I am there Monday through Wednesday in the afternoons.
Is there the capability of them leaving messages and then having a call back?
Most definitely.
Okay.
I pick up the messages every day.
So this is a suicide awareness exposition, and Chuck Driscoll, I thank you so much for putting this on. It's going to be September 14th, and that is, what day is that? That's a Friday, right?
Week from Friday.
Week from Friday, and tell us the location again.
625 Fremont Street in Rupert.
Okay, now Fremont, that's kind of a popular street over there, isn't it? There's going to be a lot of things on that street.
Well, there's the Blue Room is right next door, and the police department's right down the street.
And a big car show coming up and everything on Fremont, isn't there?
Yeah, I believe so.
Now, what do they need if they're a veteran? Do they need to bring anything with them that day?
They don't have to bring anything. If they want to, they can bring their discharge papers, and we'll get them registered with the VA. But other than that, I just mostly want them to come and pick up materials and listen.
Listen. That's the key. Chuck, anything else about this event that you'd like the public to be aware of?
Nope. I think I've said most everything.
Well, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you, and I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'll keep this, and I want to keep plugging it for the next couple of weeks, leading up to the 14th.
I would really appreciate that.
Well, thank you for coming by our office. I've got to do a weather forecast and wrap up the program, but anything and everything we can do to help you, please let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mini-Cash Veteran Service Officer Chuck Driscoll, and God's blessings to you, sir. Thank you so much. Very nice man right here, Chuck Driscoll. Right now, thank you, Chuck. God bless you, sir. And we're going to have a weather forecast brought to you by Scarro's Meats at 331 North Road, Jerome. The telephone number to call, of course, you know that number, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew, outstanding, delicious meats for you. And we're still having some great barbecue weather. They've got the marinated pork ribs for only $1.99 per pound, and they've got all the beef and the pork and the chicken. My goodness sakes, it's all there. Delicious meats at Scarro's Meats. Right now, here's the weather with Gina.
Here's a look at your weather for this Wednesday, and it looks like this high-pressure system is going to be sticking around at least for the rest of the week. Looks like sunny skies for today, expecting a high of 90. Could be a little bit warmer in other parts of the valley, just depending upon where you're at. Looking at partly cloudy skies with a low of 56 for tonight. Winds out of the southwest right around 8 miles an hour. Tomorrow, another gorgeous day. Sunny skies with a high of 87. Partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 54. As we hit Friday, sunny skies, high of 87. Slightly breezy Friday night, mostly clear with a low of 54. As we look at the weekend, looks like sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid 80s, lows in the low 50s. And as we head on into next week, sunny skies and highs in the mid 80s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Wow, that is not a bad forecast at all. Thank you, Gina. We appreciate that. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, bringing you the weather this hour. And, of course, Don Scarrow and the crew. You can go to their website, like I said, scarrowsmeats.com, and learn a lot more about all the delicious meats they've got. And the number to call, 324-7657. Scarrows Meats, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. It is good. Wow. I thank you, the audience, this morning for helping out. We had a 9:06 guest that didn't show up and a 9:30 guest that didn't show up. And we thank you very much. You, the audience, make this show tick, and I thank you for all your kind calls, questions, etc. We appreciate you. Tomorrow, of course, being Thursday, short work week for us, we're going to have the Chamber Report. We're going to have Cassia Regional Hospital on the air. Rita Ramsey will be here at 9:30. Always a great political guest to have on the air. We're going to have, of course, Cassia County School Days. And at 10:30 tomorrow morning, my old buddy George Mass is going to be on the program, and we're going to be talking about the great big Standing for the Red, White, and Blue car show. It's going to have bikes and boats and cars and entertainment, vendors and food, all of this on September 8th, this coming Saturday from 10 to 4. And George is going to be here tomorrow morning, and we're going to discuss that. And for more questions or information, call George at 650-0104. I want to say thank you to our major sponsor, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness sakes, they're having a big fall tire sale right now. And tires for your car like the Road Control Touring AS as low as $81.39, all-season tread, smooth, quiet ride. And along with like your pickup and SUV tires on sale, the Backcountry All-Terrain. Wow, you better get in there and check out the safe, great driving tires at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with the best in brake service, and I mean that. Highly trained brake technicians, along with front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries, all of this with the best of service for you, the customers, at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers at Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to run. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Have a great day. God bless you and your family. Leave the dial right here on 12:30 a.m. Zeb at the Ranch tomorrow morning at 8:06, where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys. See you tomorrow morning.